Hi
Hi
everybody, I
everybody.
hope you're well. So in this video, we're going to talk
So
about
in this video,
Matplotlib
about
library and
Matplotlib
how we can
library
use this
and how
library
we
in
can use this
conjunction
library in
with
conjunction
polars.
with polars.
So hi
So hi
Tejendra,
Tejendra,
welcome, and
welcome.
could you please
Please
walk us
walk us
through this library? Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
hi.
hi.
Thanks
Thanks
for
for
inviting
inviting.
me.
We will continue from where we left in the last video. Just to sort of quickly recap, we used the polars package to read in one of the CSV files, and then we dropped some of the columns that we no longer required. In this video, we are going to make use of a new package called Matplotlib, and specifically its pyplot subpackage to create a very simple bar graph to help us understand the overall performance of the students in our test course data. We are going to see how many students got each of the letter grades. That would help us understand the overall performance of the students in the school. So without further ado, let me walk you through how to go about creating that bar plot. We have already dropped the columns that we no longer need. Now we are going to modify our existing data in the memory by assigning it to a new data which holds the count of the number of students who scored each of the letter grades as their average grade. So if you would recall, the data had 69 students, and we have this column of average grade. That is what we want to plot in the bar chart. So let's go ahead and just keep this column and create a data object of the count of each of the letter grades. So we are still going to assign that new data to the existing object called dt. So I'm going to use a group by function in polars object. What this does, it is allows you to input multiple columns that would group the rows in the data together. So since we want to group all the students who get letter grade A, for instance, together, we are going to use the average grade column to group the rows together. So I pass a list of the columns that we need to group by. So in our case, it's just the single column average grade. So I'm just gonna put a string of that column name. And then another function which is in the polars package, which makes our life much more easy, is we can, after grouping the data, use the length function, which will give us the count of the observations or the rows corresponding to each or unique value in the average grade column. So let's see how this looks like. Okay, so that gave us some error. Let's see why that is the case. Uh, Instead of length, let's use the count and see if that works. Okay, it does work. So let's see. Okay, so here we are. We have the average grade. So 3 students scored letter grade A. B students scored letter grade for letter grade B as their average grade, and we don't have information on the average grade for 23 students. So we don't want to plot the students or count the students who have missing information on their average grade. We are just going to go ahead and drop these students from the existing data. So let's do that. So I'm continuing to use um, the polars package, and I'm going to use the filter function, which allows me to filter the existing data on multiple conditions. So here I'm going to use another function called all horizontal, which allows us to do a row-wise operation. So I use all horizontal, and then I use select the column on which I want to make this operation work. So that would just be average grade. And then I'm going to use a not is not null function, which allows us to drop all the observations or the rows with null values. So let's see how that works. Hopefully the null has disappeared. So as you can see, we were able to drop the rows with the null values. So now we are in a position to be able to create a bar plot. So as I had said at the outset of the video, we are going to use the Matplotlib package. I've already loaded that, but just for the pedagogical purposes, I'm going to execute this once more. And this is going to import the package that we need to create a bar chart. So with the Matplotlib package, you need to first start an instance of the figure that you want to create. So let's do that. Um, then we are going to use the bar function. So this needs, so let's see what all um, um, So what all arguments this function takes. So I have opened the API reference here. So this is the bar function that we are using. So you can see it takes X, which can be a float or an array of basically the labels on the X-axis. And then it needs height, which is also a float or an array-like object, which is basically the height or the size of the bars that we are going to plot. There are other options which we don't require for our purposes, but as you can see, it allows you to also change the color of the bars, their edge color, and a whole lot of stuff. So this is quite flexible. And as you can see, there are also examples at the bottom. So if I was to click here, it's gonna take me to um, to another page where you have the example which is going to create this plot. So let's go ahead and do our plot. So as I said, I'm going to use X. So there I'm going to use our existing data. So I'm going to select the column that will be the x-axis. So we know that is the column called average grade. So let's just go ahead and do it. And then we need height, which is again the column called count. Okay. Uh, and then we can see do show. So hopefully this is going to work. Okay, so it didn't work. There is some issue. Let me see. Let me go to the example and see what we missed there. Okay, so we had to assign this to an object, which we failed to do. So let's do that. So then this will become AX bar, and hopefully this is going to work. AX is not defined. Okay, so this needs NumPy. So we'll have to stop the video and go over again because this needs a completely different package. Sorry about that, but that should be um, just a second. Sorry about. Okay, so we have created an object to create the bar chart, which we are calling AX. And then we are going to use the bar function of the Matplotlib bar pyplot sub package. And what I have done is I have subsetted the data to keep only the columns which will be the axis labels, and then converted into a list, because Matplotlib will not allow Polar's column as the input. And I do the same for the count of the students with the different grades. So if we run this, then we would be able to see the bar chart with depicting the number of students who scored each of the letter grades. So just for the reference purposes, let me also print to the console the data that holds the number of students with different letter grades. So if everything works okay, then we should see the height of the bar corresponding to the count of the number of students who scored each of the letter grades. So let's see if that happens. So this is how the figure looks like. So on the x-axis, you have the letter grade A or B. And then on the vertical axis, you have the count of the students. So as we can see, 3 students scored letter grade A, and that is the height of the bar here in the figure. And the same for the B, where 43 students scored that letter grade. So this was a short example of how to use polars in conjunction with Matplotlib to do very basic visualization as far as bar charts or other simple types like pie chart or histograms are concerned. So thanks a lot for your time today, and I'll see you in the next video.
Thank you so much, Tej. Appreciate it. Cheers.